I'm trying to order the material, but then it has a natural chaos as well.
The way you go about making something has to be very deliberate.
There is a place for objects that are made by head, hand, and heart and are used that way. I'm a sculptor.
I'm a silversmith.
I'm a glassmaker.
I am a potter.
I suppose I'm a maker.
The slip is a homogeneous mix of water and clay. Mocha tea is a dendritic slip. The black stuff that I would via the brush was just touching the brush to the surface of the slip, and therein the dendritic slip, the mocha tea, was bleeding out from the brush tip. With the slab being set just flat, it grows out concentrically in a circle. When one then tilts the slab, one has some movement of the slip, and then one can grow what we might call more of an organic or what's called a seaweed shape. I'm Joel Huntley. I am a potter here in Columbus, Wisconsin. I've been making pots for a living here since 1984. I went to the Chicago Art Institute right out of high school. All I knew from age 15 or 16 is that I wanted to be an artist. By sometime in my second year, I had fallen under the muse of clay and pottery. So I applied to junior year abroad program to go to England and to study pottery. I recognized my affinity for folk arts and crafts as opposed to, use a big generic term, modern art. They felt real to me, and I felt it was something that I could have a voice in. I began my career as a professional potter making salt glaze stoneware. Did that for many years, did it very successfully, both artistically and business-wise. Then moved into earthenware. I had to stay focused on what I was doing, Western folk pottery. The first thing you have to do in throwing any pot on the wheel is you have to center it. And that's to get the mass of clay spinning in the middle of the wheel, usually in a cone or a beehive shape. That shape is then opened, and from the donut shape, the interior base of the pot is then formed. One is squeezing the clay between the left hand, usually on the inside, the right hand on the outside, and one is pulling upward. I'm changing, refining, defining the shape and the texture. One draws it in to a narrow neck up to a lip, the shaping of the lip. It's not something that can be taught from a book. It has to be taught by example and by trying. There's no text. If I could make any pots I wanted to make, what would I make? You start thinking about that when you get to middle age and older. It's like, I'm gonna do what I want to do. So the result was wood-fired, ash-glazed porcelain, which, were the best pots I ever made in my life. The big draw to me in making pots is shape. I'm shape-oriented. The simplicity, distilling the elements down so that you get a strength through quiet. I took all the Western background and knowledge that I had, combined it with all the Eastern influences that I'd had as a young man that first drew me into pottery. I'm not making, quote, traditional Eastern or Western pots exclusively. This is kind of like the side thing. This decorative technique was what's called combing or feathering. I'm taking a feather that has the fins removed, and it's as fine as a needle, and I am letting that feather just sit on the surface of the slip. I'm not pushing down, and then I'm pulling that feather back and forth across the slip. It's a technique that must go back to at least the early 1700s, if not the late 1600s. Very English, not a technique that could be mass-produced by mechanical means. So a hand technique, and one that's very delicate and beautiful. My customers, who come from all walks of life and all backgrounds, will come to me and tell me that my pots enrich their lives. These pots are part of their families. There is a a human spiritual connection when one is using an object that someone else has physically and mentally labored over. I think there is a place in all societies for objects that are made by head, hand, and heart and are used that way.